getting started right now with a new episode of More Layers. Welcome once again to More Layers. My name is Seth Mariano.
And I am Jordan Smith.
Yep, we're back with a new episode. This is, I believe, our fifth one.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and we've got some pretty big news related very closely to us. Recently, a local TV station broadcast a new TV commercial for an organization you've probably heard us mention in the show's past, Campaign D.
Yep. It is a way for us to spread awareness of autism and how it affects different people. We've been in touch primarily with the town of Gates because that's where it's based. And how would they describe what they are now? Like Gates is the first autism aware town, or they said something like that?
Or I don't really remember, but that
In any case, that's where it's centered in Gates, New York, and we're going to try and spread it out further so more people are aware of what autism is and how it affects different people so that they can better live alongside it.
yeah. So a local TV station, our local ABC station, specifically WHAM Rochester, recently aired this, and I found out about it when Jordan mentioned it on Facebook. So I eventually decided to, or that we would discuss it today.
Yep, and if you want to see it for yourself, it is on Campaign D's Facebook page, simply called Campaign D.
All right, good. Well, thanks for that.
Absolutely.
So, of course, you don't notice this if you're streaming the audio only version of this episode, but I see today Jordan has his Eagles hoodie.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I was one of the things that I thought about discussing was, well, before I settled on Campaign D, was the the draft and stuff that's going on with the Eagles. Apparently, they got rid of Wentz, I think.
Yeah, they traded him, I believe, to the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, well, that's actually one of my favorite teams.
Well, hopefully he can do something better there.
Yeah, I did you see the Sports Spectrum Football Sunday video this year?
I had not seen that, no.
Yeah, well, do you even know what that is?
I feel like I've heard somebody talk about it before, but I'm not entirely sure.
It's a sort of annual Super Bowl day video program by this company, Sports Spectrum,
Okay.
using figures in pro football to sort of share personal faith stories or faith related stories, and it's kind of at the core of it, it's an evangelical effort, and they interview pro players, and one of the interview subjects, or one of the people who spoke this year, was Carson Wentz.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, this is the second year that he's done that.
Consecutively, or?
No, I don't think.
Okay, because I don't know how long he's been in the NFL, but he was with the Eagles specifically for like 3, maybe 4 years.
Some of you may know he was on the sideline for at least the Super Bowl when when the Eagles team won it for the first time. Nick Foles was quarterback on the field.
I think Foles was third quarterback in line, and around the time the playoffs came around, Wentz and the person after him got injured, so Foles took over and carried them the rest of the way.
Was that earlier in the postseason?
It was either right before or right after the playoffs started. It was around the end of the regular season.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Wentz talked a little bit about that, about being injured, having to be sidelined, and yeah, he said some good stuff, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. Unfortunately, he was a bit accident prone. Like he would constantly be getting hurt. So hopefully he'll have better luck on a different team.
Yeah. Yeah. My family and I have driven by the stadium, like passing through Philadelphia to New Jersey for vacation before.
I would love to see the stadium. I haven't been over there yet.
Oh, not at all.
Although apparently, from what I've been told, that stadium is one of the only NFL stadiums that have a built-in prison.
A prison in the stadium.
I want to say that's the case because I've been told that, especially in Philadelphia, crime rates are pretty high. And I guess there have been instances at the stadium before where they've needed one. At least that's what I've been told. I don't want to be quoted on this, but people I'm pretty sure have told me that the Philadelphia Eagles Stadium has a prison within the stadium somewhere.
Oh, well, did you ever see the film Silver Linings Playbook?
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, spoiler alert, people. There is. Well, looks like I got a poor connection right now. Oh, okay. So there is, spoiler alert, a scene in which Bradley Cooper gets involved in a fight at the Eagles Stadium when he goes to a game.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And Cooper himself is actually from Philadelphia.
Is he really?
Oh, no. Yeah, I read he was born there.
Okay, I'll have to check this out later.
All right, so our main topic for this time is, are songs misused?
Yes, it is, and the short answer is yes, but we'll go into a much longer explanation of that.
So, in Jordan's opinion, it is a definite yes. But as we go on, we'll talk about that more and well, discuss some specific examples and maybe give you something to think about.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So, the first one that I thought of was years ago on the internet. My brother and I saw an ad for a Madden NFL video game,
Mm-hmm.
and they used a song by a Christian group called Disciple. It was a hit song called "The Wait Is Over."
All right.
Yeah. Are you familiar at all with that?
I hadn't heard of it prior, but seeing that we were going to talk about it, I kind of looked up the song to see what kind of lyrics they had. So I at least know about it now.
Yeah, I did. I looked up the lyrics myself to prepare for this show
Mm-hmm.
because I remember when we saw this commercial, my brother was saddened by it, and he said, basically, essentially, he said, "That's not right. It's a song about the tribulation." So, to confirm whether or not that would be an accurate interpretation, I looked at the lyrics and I couldn't find like definitive evidence one way or the other, actually.
Sure. Yeah, after looking at the lyrics myself, I want to believe that the reason they would have had a song like that for the advertisement of an NFL-based video game was simply because of the title. Like they wanted to say, hey, the wait is over for the next version. Come get it. but I don't think they really, if I had to guess, took a lot of time to research what the song was actually about. So I could see why it would be taken the wrong way.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if oh, it was probably a decision by the band, or they could have, or the advertising or whoever could have maybe sneakily done it, because I've heard of multiple instances where like advertisers have used Tom Waits music without permission, but I
I
don't know.
haven't I haven't heard of many instances where people actually would do it without permission, but hey, I don't know in most cases if they did or not, but yeah, normally I would imagine that they would ask permission to use a song because then in turn that would also be kind of advertising for the people with the rights to that song originally. So kind of they would be helping each other, but yeah, I on this same page, I wouldn't be surprised if people actually didn't use permission and they just wanted to play a song because they thought it would fit.
From what I remember reading, that happened to Tom Waits more than once.
Now, Tom Waits, like, what kind of music does he do?
Oh, like alternative, I know he had a song in that animated movie Robots
Okay.
Underground.
When in the movie was it played? Because I might remember.
There's a scene, we're introduced to Ratchet's mom, and there's this big factory scene. Uh, that's pretty much what it was.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yep. I know exactly what that song is. Did they, do you know if they got permission to use that song or no?
I don't know.
I mean, I would imagine they did, but I don't know their history, so I can't say.
So I know back the first time when I saw that, I didn't think anything of it, but more recently I started thinking the same sort of way that my brother did about it.
Hmm.
Even though I didn't find any clear confirmation one way or the other, I think it's more likely than it isn't, or at least a bigger deal than it isn't. Just thinking of the fact that this is a Christian artist, and well, as I was thinking about what to say on this episode, I thought about Matthew 24, verses 37 through 39, which is where Jesus pointed out how people in the time of Noah didn't see the flood coming, and how it'll be that way when he comes back.
Yeah, that was kind of the idea I was getting from looking at the lyrics. Like they were talking, or at least lightly referencing Jesus' second coming. I mean, that's what I got from it anyway.
It's pretty much what I thought. Probably just because of my brother's comment, really.
Right. I mean, especially if they're a Christian group, it's more than likely that that's what they were talking about.
Yeah. Well, so people, being surprised when Jesus comes back, it might be inevitable, but I know I don't want to contribute to that.
What do you mean by that?
Like I don't want to. Like I want to, I guess, do what I can to, get people ready, for when it comes.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Now I
Yeah,
got it.
yeah. I also, even before writing stuff to talk about, I thought of another scripture,
Hmm.
Matthew 21 verses 12 and 13, which is where Jesus goes in the house of prayer and pushes the table down because they've turned it into a store.
Oh yeah, when he
Yeah,
legitimately got angry and
yeah.
was practically yelling at them. It's like, how dare you turn this place into a place of your own personal gain or something along that line.
Den of Thieves.
Yeah, there
In,
you go.
in one version, at least, that's how it's phrased.
All right. So when we first were deciding on this topic, I don't know if this made it into the episode last week or not. It might have been after we stopped and we were just talking. But I remember after we decided that we were going to do this topic, one example of a song being misused that instantly came to my mind was when the first trailer for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie came out. The design for the titular character at the time on its own upset quite a few people since it was pretty much nightmare fuel to them, as they put it. And the other issue was the song that was played, which was Gangsta's Paradise. And for those who do not know, that song's title alone has some sarcasm in it. When researching what that song was about, one website described the song in the following words: the lyrics of Coolio's Gangsta's Paradise are meant to illustrate the mental processes of a prototypical street gangsta. So, as expected, many of words featured therein focused on the type of violent and criminal behavior which such a lifestyle is based on. In other words, Coolio, who portrays the role of such an individual, makes it perfectly clear that if he crossed the wrong way, the death of the person who offended him could very well be the result. Coolio and company wrote the lyrics specifically within the context of a film entitled Dangerous Minds, which came out in 1995. Said movie centers largely on a group of high school students from the depths of the hood, and accordingly, Coolio sets out to capture the sense of pessimism, which is part and parcel of growing up in such an environment. That's why, for instance, in the second verse, he doubts if he will even be alive a year from now. He focuses on the general sense of hopelessness many people who reside in such areas are actually afflicted with. It was This song was actually also featured in films like 2014's Tammy and a trailer for 2015 version of Need for Speed, which was a game made by EA. Now, further understanding what the song is about, I concluded that a movie about a speedy blue hedgehog looking to save the world is not a good fit for that song.
Oh, they actually used the song in Tammy. I just heard it in the trailer, but it was actually in the film.
When I was looking up what films or projects that film was, or rather that song was featured in, Tammy was listed there. So
Yeah, I think you're right. It doesn't. It's it's not a good fit. I don't think, because oh, if that song is really like, oh, well, like looking at the darkness and unpromising circumstances of gang life, and Sonic is supposed to be this big successful hero, then that's not a smart choice, I don't think.
yeah, he is a lighthearted character, so having a darker song like that just did not sit well with a lot of people when that trailer came out.
Personally, I prefer the Weird Al parody over the actual rap. Amish Paradise.
Oh, I love that version. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. There was one other example that I thought of.
Yeah.
Uh, um, you may have heard this song in an ad for ADT security systems by another Christian group, Stars Go Dim. It's titled You Are Loved.
So the song is You Are Loved and it's by Stars Go Dim?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I found an article, and I think I'll put a link in the description of the episode, from newreleasetoday.com, where one member was interviewed about what the whole meaning of that song is, and reading that, it's it's confirmed for me that this is definitely an example of a misuse.
Care to elaborate?
I'll try.
Well,
So,
do your best. It doesn't have to be like going down to the most minute detail, but if you want to say
uh,
like why it was misused or where it was misused.
well, so in the interview, the member of the group being interviewed talked about the song essentially being about about hope and I guess feeling loved, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And and if you really if you look at it, I think it's easier if you people look at it for yourself. I think you'll see that there's a deeper and more significant meaning than the use of that song in the commercial implies.
So this wouldn't really fit in a security themed advertisement.
At least not to me.
I mean, that's perfectly fine. I mean, what music is used where it's basically like musical taste in general. Some are going to like it, some will not.
And I'm just saying, just because how the guy in the interview described the message, I just don't think it made sense and wasn't really smart.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. The next example I thought of, there's actually a film that I felt had two unfitting songs, at least for me, and they can be found in Amazing Spider-Man 2, which at the time Spider-Man was played by Andrew Garfield. One such example of a misused song is when the titular character was doing research in regards to his deceased parents. Although apparently they originally had a now deleted scene where Peter's father was still alive. Uh, while I don't know the official name of the song or what the name of the track they used was, if I remember correctly, the song was pretty upbeat. And this to me does not really work, as I feel like anyone who is looking for answers on parents they only knew for a short time, especially at a young age, would probably not be in the best mood. So I don't think an upbeat song is the most appropriate type of music to be playing in a situation like that.
So you don't think it fits like the dark tone or uh, of like that sort of dark feeling of looking for the dad you never knew or something like that.
Well, I mean, like in the movie, he knew his parents, but only for a short time and at a young age. So he was probably really trying to find out more about them, and especially his father, because he was working on a project. But for me personally, if I was looking up information about parents, if I didn't know mine, I probably would not be in the best mood, so I wouldn't be thinking about an upbeat song.
Fair enough.
Then the second example from the same film is when he is fighting the villain Electro near the end. Electro at one point flies around these electrical towers, Tesla towers, something like that, with each one creating specific sounds when he hits them. And as a result, he ends up playing a sort of quote unquote gritty version of Itsy Bitsy Spider, to which Spider-Man replies with how much he hates that song. In that setting, I couldn't agree more, since this is a big fight scene, and that song in any context is most likely not going to be taken seriously. And the same can be said for when the Green Goblin tries to sing it in the Tobey Maguire version of the Spider-Man films.
You mentioning that song reminded me of that scene.
Oh, with the
Well,
Green Goblin?
yes, yes.
It actually also made me think of somebody who also talked about that scene, and he was talking about how Willem Dafoe was like sort of an odd choice for the character, and especially when he goes to sing that song and he goes, "Went up the water spout." He responds with, "When will the overacting ever stop?"
Now, somebody was annoyed.
Yeah, a little bit, because if you're trying to be threatening, that's probably not the best song to be singing.
It's like, maybe, I guess that maybe was kind of an effort to be kind of, like, no, playfully funny or sort of cheeky. But maybe it wasn't the best way to do that.
I mean, I get it was meant to be funny, and I kind of got a good laugh out of it, but at the same time, it's just like you're trying to be a threatening person, but you singing that song, I cannot take you seriously.
Or you can't buy into it.
Right.
All right. When you were talking about movies like a minute ago,
Hmm.
I thought of one other example.
Yeah.
Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. I guess I should issue another spoiler alert. The scene in which the kids, you know, like pretty much take all the rides from the theme park and use them to blast into space to go rescue the parents.
Okay.
Yeah, and take they for for some unknown reason they used the No Secrets recording of Kids in America for that scene,
Okay.
which from what I've heard from listening to that has got nothing to do with what's going on in that scene. Uh, it just and it seems to be I feel like that is something that at least back then was a regular weird thing that Nickelodeon did in their movies, like just using cheesy the weird pop songs in action scenes.
Yeah, I never fully got why people in general would play a song like that in an action scene. It just doesn't sit right.
I mean, the, but the music of it's all right, and you know, those girls can sing, but still, it doesn't make sense to me.
Fair enough. I mean, I haven't seen Jimmy Neutron much myself, so I'll have to take your word for it on that one. Oh, yeah.
It's
Then the next idea that I had, I'm looking back at my list now, I realize I'm mostly talking about songs being misused in things like movies. But this next one actually first came to me based on a suggestion by my mom, and I completely agree with her on this. This is when they play Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World in the first Madagascar movie. Like, likely they were more trying to go for laughs, knowing that the song was pretty much the opposite of what was happening on screen at the time. And while it was kind of funny, it's still pretty unfitting. And for those who don't know, the main characters are going through this jungle area, which is in Madagascar, hence the name of the movie. And while the song is playing, they're watching a bunch of things happen that are actually kind of disturbing. Two moments that stand out are when a bird gets eaten by a plant and a baby duck getting instantly devoured by an alligator.
Was the plant Venus flytrap?
I want to say it was something similar. Uh, I don't know what kind of plant it was, but it looked like a regular flower at first, and then when the bird goes in to like get the nectar or whatever it may have been, because I think it was a hummingbird, like the petals just instantly snapped around it as if it was a mouth, and it burped.
Well, I've only seen the whole movie once. I mean, I saw a little bit of it again later, but I've only seen it from start to finish once, like when it was in the theaters.
Right.
I don't remember that much of it.
Well, I'm sure if you just went on YouTube and said like Madagascar, what a wonderful world, you probably find it pretty quickly.
Maybe some big movie website has a clip.
Oh, I'm sure they do. And with this particular song, What a Wonderful World, this is far from the only film where this particular song is used like that. Oftentimes, for whatever reason, they'll play this song, even though it's called What a Wonderful World, over something going completely wrong. Uh, a website called The Richest listed such movies as Bowling for Columbine, New Year's Eve, and Good Morning Vietnam as examples, all while saying the following. And this is a doozy. Does your film feature long, arduous montages of murder, genocide, mass graves, famine, riots, race wars, disastrous election results, dolphin murder, the wrongfully imprisoned, Hitler talking, perfectly mowed lawns with picket fences, abortion, church bombings, assassinations, 9/11, the Munich Olympics, and quite a few more? Uh, then this jazzy ballad is right up your alley.
Cheeky.
Yeah, I actually had like the particular quote lasts a bit longer, but I figured I already named a few disasters in there. So, but yeah, the
And
general point is despite it being a positive sounding song, for whatever reason, people like to play it over like scenes of things going wrong.
Good Morning Vietnam was really what boosted what the song "What a Wonderful World" into its popularity. Before then, it wasn't necessarily a hit.
You know, I did not know that.
I haven't seen the movie. I'm just going off what was in my Wii video game of Jeopardy. That's where I got that from.
I want to say the movie had John Goodman in it, but I'm not entirely sure. I know there was a movie where he was bowling with friends and he was talking about fighting in Vietnam.
Is that the Big
But
Lebowski?
that might be it. And then I don't know if this was in the movie, but I know there's a scene in something where Robin Williams shouts "Good morning, Vietnam," so it might have been from that movie.
Either that or maybe just some Robin Williams in joke in a later movie.
It might have been. I'd have to do some more research to find that out for sure.
Okay, so what they listed like a bunch of movies in that article.
Yeah, they listed a few examples and then they listed a bunch of different like disasters or negative events that song has or would probably end up being played over.
So, what are some other titles that they listed?
Well, Bowling for Columbine, New Year's Eve, and Good Morning Vietnam were some examples. I'd have to pull up the article again to see if I can find it.
All right. Hang in there, people. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it should be interesting to see what they cited.
I think I said it was the richest.
Yeah, yeah, that's what you said. Mm-hmm.
I think this particular website mainly listed 3 or 4 examples for each song that they had because they had about 15 to 20 of them.
So 15 or 20, then it's got to be a prevalent issue.
Oh, it definitely is. When I say that, I mean 15 or 20 different songs that had been used way too much in different things. But in terms of different movies or whatever, they didn't really list any more, at least any in particular. but they were saying that Bowling for Columbine, New Year's Eve, and Good Morning Vietnam were the worst offenders, at least to them.
Um, so, so like an elite top three.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, I don't know what anyone was thinking when they did these things, that I talked about with the ADT commercial and the Madden ad. But I
Right.
think, but I think in an eternal sense, it's dangerous what they've done. You know what I mean?
Dangerous, like it can have negative after effects, like after people see it.
Like, well, as a Christian, I believe, God is the biggest deal more than anything.
Sure.
So having examples, like I talked about with The Wait Is Over and You Are Loved, it can be a really unhealthy distraction and from that gospel message that they need to hear, to receive eternal life.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
All right.
And and probably
Right.
most definitely if the song is, like I think I mentioned before with You Are Loved, is rooted in an eternal idea, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I hear a phone ringing.
It's probably my house.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Another song that came to my mind, or rather, songs can be used, at least to me, simply due to the fact that they have been overused by way too many people. And one such example that came to my mind was the well-known song "Bad to the Bone."
Oh yeah. I've heard that one.
Yep. This song is often used to depict like bad characters getting serious, or like even though they do that, it's not always taken seriously, and sometimes it's even used just to try and tell the audience, "Hey, this person you see right now, if we play this song, they'll think he's cool." And some films that have used this, whether it makes sense or not, have been Terminator 2, Wild Hogs, and even the animated film Megamind.
Yeah. I have seen Terminator 2, but I don't remember the use of that song. I can say though, I believe the second one is superior to the first, in my opinion.
I think the general consensus, at least from what I've seen on the Terminator films, is that the first one was good, the second one was better, and then it just kind of went progressively downhill after that.
Mm-hmm. After the second one.
Yep.
Well, I guess I picked a good point to stop at because I
Probably.
because I stopped watching after because I've only seen one and two,
Yeah, I think there's like 5 or 6 of them at this point, at least.
including Salvation and Genesis and whatever.
Salvation, Genesis. I think the latest one was Dark Fate. And I feel like there was at least one other one in there, but I don't remember.
Okay.
But yeah, they played that song in the second one, and then they played it in the kind of superhero spoof movie Megamind.
Yeah. I guess it's a normal thing for animation studios to get goofy with their music choices, and kind of pick songs to get goofy or goofily spoof classic movie scenes or something.
Oh yeah, sometimes they'll do it just to get a laugh out of people because they know the song is used a lot or doesn't make sense or whatever.
Or they'll recognize the classic film scene being recreated.
They might do that. They might think, hey, if we play this song over this scene, they might pay more attention because they recognize the song.
Maybe.
All right, so another example. that came to my mind was Bee Gees' "Staying Alive."
Yeah, I thought about that. Um, I thought about the Madagascar spoof of that scene in Saturday Night Fever. They
Yep.
spoofed that for Madagascar.
Yes, they did. Madagascar has used at least a couple songs that have been used in a lot of other things, that being one of them. And not only is this song overused, but it has been used to help push a joke so often that it's actually hard to find it funny sometimes when it's being used again. I will admit, though, I found it a little funny in the Madagascar movie with the fact that it was played to a zebra strolling down the streets of New York City and no one was really even batting an eye.
Or screaming or going like there's a zebra on the loose or anything.
Yeah, I think the only person that really did was like the officer that was riding a horse, but everyone else was just like walking past. It's like, this is normal.
It's New York. Everything's normal.
Oh yeah, and I think while that song was being played, he saw a lady walk past him that also had a black and white striped shirt.
Ah, there's a connection.
Oh yeah. So that was another one. I got more if you want me to keep going.
Um, yeah. Go on ahead.
All right. So I looked up a bunch of different websites or articles that were talking about movies that overuse different songs and whatnot. And at the top of the list, more often than not, was the song Born to Be Wild.
Right, which is the classic rock and roll hit by the band Steppenwolf.
Yep. It is a song that, while fun to listen to, has seriously been used more times than I can count in media. It has been used in pretty much everything, ranging from movies to TV shows, even to short advertisements. Herbie Fully Loaded is just one movie this song is used in. I don't know about you, but when I think of a seemingly sentient car, not counting Pixar's Cars movies, this song would, or rather, this would not be a song that would come to my mind. And the same goes for some of Disney's other properties. One example is Lizzie McGuire, one of their standard Disney Channel type teenage stories, as well as D3, The Mighty Ducks, which is centered around hockey. And last but not least, it is featured in one of their Disney park attractions, particularly Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. Although I might be willing to let that last one slide, the only reason for this, though, is due to how the Guardians of the Galaxy films are known for bringing back some classic songs from earlier decades.
If they aren't yet, they should be maybe using it in the Rock and Roller Coaster.
That would make sense.
Although that would probably be complicated if they haven't done it and they made that change because no, I haven't written it, but it says Rock and Roller Coaster featuring Aerosmith, so would probably be hard.
Yeah, probably. I mean, there's some like local carnivals or something that have kind of similar rides that'll do stuff like that.
Well, they could always do that at the we have in our town of Rochester we have an amusement park, a really old amusement park called Seabreeze,
Yep.
and they have, which is pretty much, I guess, as far as I know, it's a standard carnival ride as far as I know, because I've ridden something that's basically the same also at the Steel Pier in New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
and there's basically the same ride at Seabreeze where they call it the Music Express.
Yep.
Basically, you go around and round in a bunch of circles, and they play popular songs.
I think there's a traveling fireman's carnival in the area that has a similar ride to that one. but I think they only are around in the summer.
Yeah, well, yeah,
And
we'll
then,
see. I guess we'll see if the pandemic clears up by then. But what are the odds?
I mean, even if they do, chances are there's still going to be some restrictions in place. But one other song that I wanted to bring up today that has been overused and honestly, in some cases, doesn't even work for me is Sweet Home Alabama.
Okay, by Leonard Skinner.
Yep. I don't fully understand what the reasoning is for this being used in the way that it often is. I personally feel that it is simply a good party song or one that would at least make you want to get up and dance. However, it seems that a lot of films and shows might use it to try and up the excitement for whatever is going on at the time, even if it isn't much. Take the opening to the first Despicable Me movie, for example. The song, which is called Sweet Home Alabama, mind you, is being played while tourists are looking at pyramids in Egypt.
I've seen that movie more than once, and I really don't remember hearing that song.
It's right at the beginning of the film, pretty much.
Oh, well, I have the DVD.
Okay. And of course, this song has been used in other things too, such as The Simpsons, but I haven't seen much of that show, so I would not be able to say for sure if it would actually fit or not. Then, one final example of using this song in a movie that I want to bring up is mostly for the sake of the cruel irony behind it. It was played in a movie called Con Air, which I believe had Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I think it did.
And the reason why this is ironic is because apparently this song had been played in that movie during a scene where people were dancing on a plane. This brings out irony because several members of Leonard Skinner, the band behind this well known song, were actually killed in a plane crash.
Oh, it's probably not sensitive.
Yeah, I don't know when this movie came out, so I don't know what the response to that was, but I feel like some people would probably be shocked that they used that particular song in that particular scene.
And this was after those musicians died in the crash.
Uh, I believe so, but I am going to double check that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Con Air came out in 1997, and the Leonard Skinner. How do you pronounce that? Leonard Skinner?
Leonard Skinner. Well, no, like Arrow Flynn.
All right. The plane crash happened in October of 1977. So yeah, this movie came out after that song.
Long time after.
Yep.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Probably questionable. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably have some comments for them if I was able to, but it's a movie that came out almost 30, like 25, 30 years ago now. So
Yeah, I was thinking it's late for that.
a little bit.
Yeah. Um, there was one other specific example that I thought of. Um, a song by the Motown group The OJs
Okay.
called "For the Love of Money." And according to Wikipedia, the title is inspired by a the scripture in one of the epistles that begins with the words "For the love of money is the root of all evil,"
Sure.
or all kinds of evil. At least in some versions, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And like you may know it as the theme of the show The Apprentice.
Oh, that's what that song is called. Okay.
And I read in the Wikipedia for some time ago for that song how one of the members had publicly stated that he disliked how a song that was meant to be a statement or a commentary on the issue of idolatry had been used to promote this show about uh, commercial and financial gain.
Yeah, that seems kind of backwards now that you say that.
So, apparently, the message they intended to convey has been twisted by the culture.
It seems that way.
Yeah, so I think when there's evidence that songs are misused.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
The last point I actually wanted to bring up today, though, is that despite how we've been talking about songs being misused up to this point and overused, it doesn't mean that the song just doesn't work either. Sometimes, even when a song is used all the time, it can still have an impact if it's used correctly. And the first song that came to my mind was Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. The song has been used a ton, especially to reflect upon the characters on screen that are currently going through a dip in their life. Criminal investigation shows such as Criminal Minds and NCIS have used this song before, but the time I remember hearing it more than any other, and can even picture the scene it went with to this day, is actually the first Shrek movie.
That was my intro to the song, yeah, the Rufus Wainwright version.
Yeah, that's where I heard it too. For those who don't know, in that movie, Shrek and Fiona are separated at this point.
Spoiler alert.
Yes. And they both are now seemingly get what they originally wanted, but at this point, they realize what they really want, and with both of them thinking it is too late, they are both in a slump, and that's around the time that the song starts to play.
At this point, the two of them have parted on a bitter note. They've had what you would call a falling out, a little a little argument because there was a misunderstanding, and they've
Yep.
kind of bitterly gone their separate ways. Fiona to marry Farquaad, and Shrek back home to his swamp.
Guest appearance by my dog.
Hey there, fella.
Yeah, she wanted to say hi. But you were saying?
Yeah. So, basically what goes on, you know, well, what led up to this little sad scene is Shrek overheard something, jumped to the wrong conclusion, and confronted Fiona about it as Fiona was coming out to talk to him, and there was that misunderstanding, and they couldn't resolve that, and they bitterly went off their separate ways. Fiona to marry Farquaad, and Shrek back home to his swamp.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this song was not in the musical version that we did. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, but that's okay because you don't really need it because well, you've got a good original song in there, "Build a Wall," that kind of pretty much, I guess, has the same effect.
Yeah, it honestly, I feel like it gets it across more because in that song, Shrek is kind of saying, "Hey, we both got what we want now, so I'm just going to go live my life. You go live yours, and we'll live happy in separate places."
Yeah. Yeah, probably the one disadvantage is that the whole time we're seeing Shrek and we're not seeing what's going on with Fiona, compared to when that song is playing and we see that sort of back and forth montage.
And now that you say that, I think in the musical version, after she leaves that scene with Shrek, the next time we see her is at the wedding.
Well, yeah, in the play, yeah, we see her for not a while until that final wedding scene, or penultimate wedding scene, and then but then during the Hallelujah in the movie, we see a little bit of her getting ready in the church a little bit.
Yeah, like they show the dress fitters making sure her outfit is good to go. She puts a veil over her face, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, songs are often misused, overused, and what have you. But the opposite can often be just as true. It will really all depend on what the song is being used is, where it's being used, and what is being used for.
You know, you probably remember my comment, about you know, eternally message stuff, being used inappropriately, and
Yep.
writing about, writing stuff I was thinking about saying. My mind went back to, just because I'd seen it in a Scott Kramer video, a clip from the Bible Man video franchise. There's a scene in one episode where I think there's this kid apparently making a comic book inspired by him,
Yeah.
and he and I think I think it's Cipher, his colleague in the lab. They're looking at his drawings, like, and Cipher says, "You look larger than life." That's the problem, Bible Man says. You know, they're drawing attention to me, but I want people's attention to be turned to God. I don't want to get the glory.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which I think is a good point. Um, a good legitimate concern, I think.
Yeah, if something is misused and gives the wrong message, it can definitely come across that way.
Yeah, but I think we've had a good discussion about this. I think there's we've covered some pretty interesting stuff. Thank you all again for tuning in,
Yep.
and we'll probably be back with another show next week.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see us on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, and all our info is on our Facebook and our YouTube. And as always, message us, contact us on email or Facebook Messenger, and and yeah, keep enjoy.
And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or if you even want to appear on the show at some point, please feel free to message us. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and yeah, thanks to Jordan's dog for for and joining us for a little bit.
Yeah, she's been here the whole time. She just happened to say hi in the last few minutes.
Yeah, well, hi back. Yeah, well, until next time, we are out. Thank you again. We'll see you again soon.
Goodbye, everybody.